Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki shrinvatam swakatha Kṛṣṇa punya shravana kirtana hridayantastha bhadrani vidunoti suhritsatam यस्यां वै श्रूयमाणायां कृष्ण परमपुरुषे भक्तिरुत्पद्यते पुंसां शोकमोहभयापहा गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरु दीनतारिणं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you so much, dear Vaishnavas, for joining. Your precious association is so enlivening and the treasure for the soul. So thank you so much. We are reading Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 1, the Manus, the administrators of the universe. So we read till text number 18 yesterday, and we were discussing about the appearance of Yagyapati, the Manvantar avatar who came to protect Swambhu Manu, the first Manu, and then he also took the role of Indra. And let's see what happens next. Text number 19. Swarochisho dvitiyastu manur agni suto bhavat dyumad sushena rochasmat pramukhastasya chatmajaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The son of Agni, named Swarochisha, became the second Manu. His several sons were headed by Dyumat, Sushena, and Rochishmat. Purport: Manvantaram Manurdeva Manuputra Sureshwaraha Rishayo Amshavatarascha Hari Sadavidham Uchyate. There are many incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Manu, the Manuputra, the sons of Manu, the king of the heavenly planets, and the seven great sages are all partial incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Manu himself, his sons Priyavrata and Uttanpad, the demigods created by Daksha, and the rishis like Marichi were all partial incarnations of the Lord during the reign of Swambhu Manu. During that time, the incarnation of Lord as Yagya took charge of ruling the heavenly planets. The next Manu was Swarochisha. The Manus and the sages and demigods are further described in the following 11 verses. So, Hare Krishna to everyone again for joining. So, in this verse, from first Manvantar, we are moving to second Manvantar. In the first Manvantar, who was the Manu? Swambhu Manu. In the next Manvantar, who was the Manu? Swarochisha. That's mentioned here. So, and we'll talk more in great detail about like who were the different sons. So, Dyuma, Sushena, etc. were his children. So, Rochishmat, etc. Manuputra. And Prabhupada is quoting this verse that all of these are, most of these were partial incarnations. But the Lord appeared as Yagya in the reign of Swayambhu Manu, and pretty much in every Manu he appears. So we'll see those names as well. Manuputra Sureshwara Rishyo Hariswatam Uchita. So I think this is just an introduction to the next Manu and a summary. This is how this chapter is basically like a summary of the whole, or not all the 14, but first 6, I believe, because that's what the question was asked in the first 3 verses of this chapter. I want to hear about Manus. Why is someone interested in hearing Manus? Who will answer that? Why is Parikshit Maharaj interested to hear about Manus? Any response?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I think because they are the representatives of Lord Krishna and partial incarnation of Krishna. So Parikshit Maharaj wants to know about the devotees of Lord Krishna and activities of Lord Krishna.
Very nice. Anyone else wants to add to that?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. We know that Prahlad Maharaj had said that verse about the 12 Mahajans who knows the Navada Bhakti and who knows Bhagavata Purana. Since he heard that Swayambhuva Manu is also a Mahajan, he wanted to hear more about how he knows Bhagavata Dharma. And that is the nature of a devotee. He wants to hear the life pastimes of other devotees. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes. Because Krishna Katha does not mean only activities and pastimes of Krishna, it also means activities and pastimes of his pure devotees. And all of these are not ordinary Tom, Dick, Harry. They are not any ordinary person on the street. They are great souls. They are Mahajans. They are Manuputra. They're the father of mankind. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj is very interested in hearing. The sages of Naimisharanya are very interested. So let's continue with the next verse. So it's Friday. So please raise your hand if you haven't read in the last 4 days. I want to really see that who hasn't read, and so we can split the reading accordingly. If you haven't read and you are in a position to read today, it's time to raise your hand. Okay, so that means everyone has read. I don't see any hands raised. That means everyone has read at least once. I see Kirti Mataji and then, okay. Rakesh Prabhu. Okay, so Rakesh Prabhu, you read this one. Kirti Mataji can read the next. And then those who want to read the second time can also read the raise their hands.
Krishna devotee. Text number 20. Tatrindro Rochanaspah Asid Devasya cha Tusidyadeha Ucha Stambhadhyaya Saptha Rasyo Brahma Vadhina. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. During the reign of Swaroshia, the post of Indra was assumed by Rokhana, the son of Yagna. Tusita and others became the principal demigods, and Ucha, Sambha, and others became the 7 saints. All of them were faithful devotees of the Lord. Thank you, Prabhu.
Who was Indra in the first Manu? Question. Who was Indra in the first Manu? We just read yesterday, Yagya took the position of Indra, right? Yeah. After he killed the demons, he took the position of Indra. So that means Yagya himself, Krishna sometimes, we discussed the example of the management also. So Yagya. Now in the second Manu, who was the Indra?
Son of Yagya, Rochana.
Rochana, very nice. Thank you, Mataji. So again, he was the son of yagya, that does not mean that the son acquires the position. This is by qualities. It may happen sometimes that engineer's son may become engineer, but he may become a thief also, and he may become a dacoit also, and he may become someone else also. But sometimes he may take the same role as well if he is qualified. So, second Manvantara, Swarochisha mantra, Swarochisha, he was the son of Agni. Swayambhu Manu was the son of Brahma. So, let's study the next verse. Yes, Kirti Mataji, you can read.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Text 21. ऋषेस्तु वेदशुरा सशुस्थिता नाम पत्यन्भूत तस्यां यज्ञे ततो देवो विभुरित्याभिश्रुतः. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. Vedashira was a very celebrated Rishi. From the womb of his wife, whose name was Tushtita, came the avatar named Vibhu. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. In the next, in the previous verse, one thing which is very, very crucial to note, all of them were faithful devotees of the Lord. That's the main reason Swayambhu Manu is so eager to hear about these great souls. They were not ordinary people; they were great souls, and that's the reason for the eagerness. So now, who was the second Manvantara Avtara? Vibhu. Vibhu is the second Manvantara Avtara. From came the avatar Vibhu. From the womb of his wife, whose name was Tushita. So who were the parents of Vibhu?
Tushita and Vedashira.
Shira and Tushita.
Vedashira and Tushita.
Yes.
But
Okay.
Prabhuji, here they mention in the previous sloka that Tushita was she became the principal demigods. If we read verse number 20, in translation they say, during the reign of Surachisha, the post of Indra was assumed by Rochana and the son of Yagna. Tushita and others became the principal demigods.
Correct.
And in the next verse, they say that Vibhu Maharaj was the son of Tushita and Vedashira.
Correct. He was the son of
Yes.
Tushita, who was a demigod.
Demigod.
Does that help? Yeah. Don't get over complex. Yeah, Tushita, demigod, Vedashira, Rishi, their son was Vibhu, the Manvantara Avatar. Okay. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, to read.
Hare Krishna devotees, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Text 22. Astasiti Sahasrani Munnayo Edrito Brata Anva Shikshan Bratam Tasya Komaro Brahma Charina. Translation by His Divine Grace of Sri Bhaktivinoda Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada with joy. Vibhu remained a brahmachari and never married throughout his life. From him, 88,000 other saintly persons took lessons on self-control, austerity, and similar behavior. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you.
So these verses don't have a purport. A lot of names are coming. So Vibhu remained brahmachari and gave lessons to other saintly people, 88,000. So we can also discuss on this topic that brahmacharya is very, very important for everyone, whether one is grihastha or one is actually unmarried or single. Brahmacharya is important for both. For grihastha, it means no illicit relationships outside the marriage, and for single, it means basically no premarital or outside marriage relationships. And in the marriage life also, it does not mean it's license to enjoy. It means a responsibility to help the mission of Lord Chaitanya and procreation for the purpose of Krishna consciousness. That's the ideal standard. Brahmacharya has close link with spiritual advancement. A sense gratifier, completely absorbed in senses, its spiritual advancement becomes very difficult, very difficult. It becomes very troublesome. So one will not be able to make good spiritual advancement if one continues to follow a unrestricted life, basically. Unrestricted eating, sleeping, eating, etc. So the Lord, as we discussed, is teaching by his own example. He not only followed Brahmacharya himself, he also gave inspiration to thousands and thousands of rishis. Self-control, austerity, and similar behavior. These are important words to meditate on. Self-control. How much self-control I have on myself? We all can ask that question. Am I being controlled by my mind? Someone agitates us, speaks harsh words, and then I also do tit for tat? Or am I developing the ability to tolerate that? Tit for tat or tolerate that? Choice. Austerity. Austerity of body, austerity of mind, austerity of words. All this is required. These are essential elements. These are not optional elements. We were discussing the core and the details yesterday. This is all the core. Self-control is the core. Austerity is the core. Trying to get up early, trying to follow the principles of bhakti, and similar behavior. Similar means a lot of other things are also included. To be humble, grateful. That's what the Lord is teaching. These are the essential principles of mankind. So if you follow this, spiritual advancement will be nice. Otherwise, it will be very, very choppy. Any other thoughts or comments? Okay. Yes, Jyoti Mataji, you want to read next verse?
Sure, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavad pranams to all the devotees. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Text 23. Tritiya uttamo nama priyavrata suto manuho pavanaha srinjayo yatra hotradhyastat sutanrapa. Prabhuji, could you please forward? Translation. By His Divine Grace, Abhay Charnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O King, the third Manu, Uttama, was the son of King Priyavrata. Among the sons of this Manu were Pavana, Srinjaya, and Yagnahotra. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Question. Who was the father of Priyavrata?
Manu.
Which Manu, Baba? So we all are Manu only.
Swayambhu.
Swayambhu Manu, good. So Priyavrata, actually, we read this in 5th canto, 1st chapter, that he was actually kind of student of Narad Muni. Narad Muni had told, what are you doing all this? And just retire. Just don't get entangled in family life. And which actually Vibhu Maharaj also did that, Vibhu Brahmachari. So the point was that later Swambhu Manu had to retire. Priyavrata was the elder son, and there was no right person to take the kingdom. And then finally Lord Brahma had to intervene and say, hey, you take up this kingdom. So it's not that one has to be brahmachari in the sense one has to follow the footsteps of Vibhu Maharaj. Of course, great souls can do that as well. But Lord Brahma personally came and told Priyavrata that don't worry, I assure you, you will not get entangled in family life as long as you are seriously practicing the path of bhakti. So that is the formula, to not be entangled. Otherwise, it is very complex. So many things. Ruling the kingdom, is it a joke? Having queens, kingdoms, soldiers, land, fighting, property, this, that, so much complexity. You get 1/6 of the portion of the karma of everyone. Is it easy thing? No, not at all. But Manu Maharaj, all these great souls are telling that as long as Krishna consciousness is the core, one will not be disturbed. So that's a great inspiration. So now we come to Manvantar number 3. Who was the Manu? Uttama. Very nice. Who was his father?
Priyavrata.
No, Swambhu.
Priyavrata.
Priyavrata. Yes. Priyavrata's father was Swambhu. Who was Swambhu's father?
Brahma.
Brahma. Very nice. Okay. And who were Uttama's children?
Pavana, Sranjay, Yagnahotra.
Okay, let's read the next verse. Yes, Ekant Prabhu, want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Dhanad. Hare Krishna devotees. Text 24. Vasistha Tanayaha Sapta Rasyaha Pramadadyaha Satya Vedashruto Bhadra Deva Indrastu Satya Ajit. Prabhuji, can you scroll? Translation. During the reign of the third Manu, Pramada and other sons of Vasistha became the 7 sages. The Satyas, Vedasrutas and Badras became demigods, and Satyajit was selected to be Indra, the king of heaven. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. So in every Manu's few things, there's a nice table actually. Who is the Manu? Who are the Devas? Who are the Manuputras? Who are the Sur Ishvara? Sura Ishvara Sura means demigods. Devendra is or Sura Ishvara means the master of the demigods or the chief demigod, that is Indra. Who was at the position of Indra? Who were the chief sages, the 7 sages, Saptarishi? Who was the Amsha avatar or the Manvantar incarnation? And what were the activities of the Lord in that incarnation? So there's a nice table which I can share with you later. So we discuss about Uttama, the third Manu. The Pramada and the other sons of Vashishta were the 7 sages, and the chief demigods were Satyas, Vedashuras, Bhadras, and Satyajit became the Indra, the king of heaven. So, sometimes you may feel, hey, what is this? What are we reading? This thing may come up in the mind of a conditioned soul like me. Why are these names important? So one time someone asked these questions to His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Why are these, so many names and this and that? So multiple things we can understand. One, These are not ordinary names. Just by chanting these names, you'll be purified. Just like chanting Krishna's name, one is purified. Chanting the names of great souls, which we have read, all of these were great, faithful devotees of the Lord. We are not chanting some, mundane names. We are reading Bhagavatam, not different from Krishna. Prema Varshi Aksharayate. Every word can bestow love for Godhead, because these are the names of great souls, devotees. Number two reason to understand is that when we read, and if I just tell you, hey, there was a king and there was his child, and then this king was a good king and devotee, and then he went back to God. You will doubt what maybe he cooked up the story like that, just like that. He cooked up the story. But when you hear, oh, his son was this, he used to live in this place, he was ruling from X year to Y year. There are so many details. That means it is not some fiction. It is not some mythological stories we are reading. This is our history. This is the history of mankind. Unfortunately, it's not taught in the schools and colleges. But Bhagavatam is teaching. Of course, it goes back millions of years. We are in the 7th Manu. We're talking about 1st, 2nd, 3rd Manu, 4th Manu, which is millions of years back. So, but that does not mean it's not authentic. It is very, very authentic. When we add details to the story, the reader gets to understanding that it's very authentic. So that's the other way we can try to understand this. And most important, we can only go canto by canto, verse by verse. If we artificially if we can't understand the Srishti Leela of the Lord, then how can we understand the more esoteric pastimes? We will take those cheaply. So first we have to understand what these personalities are. They're living thousands and millions of years. They're not ordinary people. But if one approaches the Srishti Leela or the creation pastime of the Lord in that context, we have read the great acharyas say, that will also be equally potent, same as the other transcendental pastimes like stealing of the butter. So we have to keep these perspective in mind while reading this. Yes, Nayan Prabhu, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Dharmasya sanratayam to Bhagavan Purushottama Shatta Shena iti kheto Jato Shatta Brata Shaha. Translation by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In this Manvantara, the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared from the womb of Sanrata, who was the wife of Dharma, the demigod in charge of religion. The Lord was celebrated as Shattasana, and he appeared with other demigods known as Shattabratas. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, back to you.
Who was the Manu incarnation? Thank you, Nayan Prabhu, for reading. Who was the Manu incarnation? Manvantara Avatar in third Manu. Sorry?
Uttam Manu.
Uttam Manu. Who was the Manvantar Avatar, the Amsha Avatar, the Manvantar incarnation in the 3rd Manu? Satya Sena, the son of Dharma and
Suntra.
Sundrata. Yes. Okay, so let's see what were his activities.
Prabhuji, quick question. So when you say Manvantara Avatar and Manu, they're different? I'm trying to understand, Prabhuji.
Manvantar is actually period.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Manu is the
ruler, right?
main, like you can say the king at that point for that period.
Okay.
Manu Maharaj. So Swayambhu Manu was the Manvantara. But Manvantar Avatar in that period of Manu Of course, these are partial incarnations, like Swayambhu Manu and all these were also partial incarnations, but the other, the Manvantara avatars are different. So with extra potency, we can say. So everyone is actually part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, but the Amsha avatars are referred to as the Manvantara incarnations or Manvantara avatars. When we say Manu, we say that period who was the Manu. Like in a third period, Uttam Manu. First period, Swayambhu Manu, etc. Does that help?
Okay. So in the first Manvantara, Swayambhu Manu was the Manu, right, Prabhuji?
Correct.
Okay. But you also said Manvantara avatar, so that's why I got little.
Yes, Manvantara avatar. So in that period, who was the avatar or the incarnation of the Lord? That's different. Yagna. And actually, I'm seeing in this book, so somewhere it's mentioned Yagna, somewhere it's mentioned Kapilax also. So it's interesting.
Okay. So in every Manu's period, there is one Manvantara avatar, right, Prabhuji?
Correct.
So in the third one, it is
Satyashena. As we read here, the Lord was celebrated as Satyashena,
okay.
Satyasena, and he appeared with other demigods.
Okay. Thank you. In the second one,
And before that was Vibhu Maharaj.
Hmm?
Vibhu Maharaj before Satyasena.
Correct, Vibhu was the Brahmacharya.
second one. In second one, right, Prabhuji?
Correct.
Okay.
And Prabhupada is also using Bhagavan Purushottamaha. The word uses Bhagavan Purushottama. So these words are used for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada is mentioning in the translation.
Prabhuji, in the second Manu is Vibhu, and also second Manvantara avatar is also Vibhu. The both.
No. Second Manu is Swarochasha. Let me share this picture actually. It's a very good picture.
Okay.
I'll share this on the Subodhini. So while someone is reading the next verse, I'll capture this picture. Yes, who would like to read?
I
Yeah,
can
you can read.
go ahead.
Text 26. Hare Krishna devotees. So Nrita Dushilan Sato Yaksha Rakshasan Bhuta Druho Bhuta Ganams Chavadit Satyajit Saka. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Satyasena, along with his friend Satyajit, who was the king of heaven, Indra, killed all the untruthful, impious, and misbehaved yakshas, rakshasas, and ghostly living entities who gave pains to other living beings. Hare Krishna, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So we see here these periods are like millions of years. Manu period means millions of years. But this is going pretty fast. Right? First Manu, second Manu, just very, very, very quickly. Because time is limited. Only 7 days are there with Maharaj Parikshit. 3 days have approximately already passed. We are at the 8th canto now. So I already shared the picture. Now let me open that here for everyone's. So you see my screen. This really helps to get a better understanding, right? I hope this is helpful. So the Manu, this is a table. Manu, who was the Manu in the 4 Manvantaras. Devas, that means the demigods. Manuputras, who were his sons, the main sons. Sura Ishvara or Surendra, the Indra, the king of heavens. Rishya, who were the 7 sages. who were the Amsa Avtaras, the Manvantara incarnation, and then who was what were the activities of the Lord? Lord referring to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what Lord Kapila, this is a very, very brief summary actually. So in this verse, we are at the activities of Satyasena, the third incarnation, third Manvantara Avatar. So what he did, he killed the miscreants who troubled jivas. So who gave pain to other living entities. So the point here is Jivadaya is very, very essential principle in our bhakti. Jivadaya, it's said Sarvadharma Sar. Namaruchi Jivadaya Sarvadharma. There's a verse like that. Jivadaya is core. Again, Jivadaya, what does Jivadaya mean? Let's take some thought. What does Jivadaya mean? What does the literal meaning is Jiva means living entities. Daya means compassion. How do we understand that? Let's take some reflections on Jivadaya. Anyone would like to share something?
Paradukha Dukhi.
Paradukha Dukhi, yes. To feel the pain of others and to consider that as one's own pain, yes, that's Paradukha Dukhi. Very nice point. Anyone else? Short and sweet. Yes. Would someone like to share? Sure.
Sharing the feeling of self-realization, awakening Krishna Prem in others.
Awakening Krishna Prem in others. Wow, that's very deep. So basically sharing Krishna consciousness. Is that correct? Sharing Krishna consciousness. Very nice. What else?
Sacrifice points.
Sacrifice what? Sacrifice others?
Sacrifice own happiness for others.
Oh wow. Sacrifice one's own happiness for others' sake. That's very deep. So selflessness in short. To not be selfish and to be selfless. That means that's what Prabhupada did. To selflessly give the wealth of bhakti. The Lord does not like people who trouble others. There's a nice verse in Bhagavad Gita also. Actually, what does it say? It's, I think, 12.15. 12.15. It says, in that, actually 12th chapter, I'll open this verse for us. Yasmano dvijate loko lokano dvijate chayah harsham risha bhayod dvigver muktoya sa chape me priyaha. He by whom no one is put into difficulty and he who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me. So the end of 12th chapter, Krishna talks about who is dear to me. There are multiple verses, but this is quite fitting in this purport. The point is we should not put others into difficulty and we should not be disturbed by anyone else. Means equipoise. So how can we put others into difficulty? By torturing them physically, like killing animals. Are they put into difficulty if one, kills cows or chickens or any other animals? Yes, of course, they're crying. They also are spirit soul. Their body also goes through the same pain. If someone cuts our finger, will we feel happy, joyful, or will we cry? We'll cry, we'll be in pain. The animals also feel the same pain. So we should not, if you want to be dear to Krishna, we should not put others into difficulty. That also includes animals. What else? That's the bodily discomfort. We can cause someone emotional or mental discomfort by speaking harsh words. Anudvega karam vakyam, same, 17:15. So how to link it? 12:15, 17:15. Quite similar. Not to speak harsh words to others. Because by those words, others will get pain. Sometimes it is said that the wound of the sword is less, that will heal faster than the wounds caused by words. The words can cause deeper wounds than the sword. And we all may have experienced it or seen others, right? So we should not cause or speak words which cause difficulty to others. And it is very true in the close family also. We may be sometimes kind to people who may meet once in a blue moon, but we may not be kind to people whom we may meet every day because of the taking them for granted. And so that's by words. And then, as Mataji mentioned, the best thing is not just the compassion of the body, but the compassion of the spirit soul. Jivadaya really means compassion of spirit soul, because that's like the eternal medicine. We should give food to a hungry person. That's absolutely fine. But that's again a short term. It's not a far-sighted approach. If we give Krishna Prasad, we're not only feeding the body of the person, we are feeding the spirit soul. So we give Krishna Prasad, we give Krishna conscious books, we share them share Krishna consciousness with them. That's real Jivadaya. Compassion, selflessness, gratitude. So all these go together. So this verse is about the third Satyashena. Kill the miscreants. The Lord will kill those people. The Lord or his energy will not like that. So ultimately, one has to go to the karmic cycle. Any other comments, questions on this? Okay. Who would like to read next verse?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Next number 27. Chaturtha uttama bhrata manar namna chatamasha pratho kyatir naraketur iti adya dasatut sutha. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Vijay. The brother of third Manu, Uttama, was celebrated by name Tamasa, and he became the fourth Manu. Tamasa had 10 sons, headed by Prutu, Khyati, Nara, and Ketu. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we will read this as Tamasa. This is the difference here. If this dash would not have been there, we would read as Tamasa, but there is a dash, so we'll read as Tamasa. Okay, who was the father of Tamasa?
Swayambhu Manu.
No.
Priyavrata.
Priyavrata. Yes. So Uttama was this is not the Uttam, the son of one Uttam was who, it comes under the Dhruva. Who was that Uttam's father? Who knows that?
In Uttanapad.
Yes, Uttanpad. So that's different. This Uttam is the third Manu. His brother was the fourth Manu. And the father was Priyavrata. The fourth Manu was Tamasa. Okay. And headed by Prithu, Khyati, etc. Okay, let's read one more. Would someone like to read? Was Jyoti Mataji, you want to read? Did you read already? I'm totally out of who read. Who has not read and would like to read? Yeah, if you have read and please put your hand down. If you have not read and would like to read, then put your hand up.
Prabhuji, I would like to read.
Okay, Puna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Satyaka harayo vira devastri sikha ishvara jyotir dharmadaya sapta risa yastamasin snatare. Translation by Isa
Bashar Prabhupada, yes, please
by
read.
Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. During the reign of Tamasa Manu, among the demigods were the Satyakas, Haris, and Viras. The heavenly king Indra was Trishikha. The sages in Saptarshi Dhama were headed by Jyotir Dhama. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So Indra was Trishikha, and Rishis, chief sages, headed by Jyotirthama, Saptarishi. So no more additions to that. I guess we can complete 29 and 30. So the topic will shift from there. So let's complete those on the way. We're out of time, but I think it should be okay. It's Friday. Yes. Umesh Prabhu, you wanted to read?
Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhu, text 29. Deva Vaidhyutayo Nama Vidruste Stanaya Nrupa Nashta Kalena E Vada Vidrutam Svena Tejasaha. Translation and purport by Divine Graces Bhagavata Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O King, in the Tamasa Manvantara, the son of Vidharthi, who were known as the Vidharthis, also become demigods. Since in course of time the Vedic authority was lost, these demigods by their own powers protected the Vedic authority. Therefore, in the Tamasa Manvantara, there were two kinds of demigods, and one of them was known as the Vidharthis. The duty of the demigods is to protect the authority of the Vedas. The word Devata refers to one who carries the authority of the Vedas, whereas Rakshasas are those who defy the Vedic authority. If the authority of the Vedas is lost, the entire universe becomes chaotic. Therefore, it is the duty of the demigods as well as the king and heads of governments to give full protection to the Vedic authority. Otherwise, human society will be in the chaotic condition in which there cannot be peace or prosperity. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Back to you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we are reading about the fourth Manvantara, and the Vedic authority was lost. So the point here is that we all should take steps to uphold the Vedic authority, to uphold our Shastras. And how can we do that? His Grace Vishika Prabhu has this one project, Gomatsya, preservation by expansion. So if, at one point, like for example, like Brahma Samhita, out of thousands of verses, we know only just handful of some tens of verses. 500 years back, the Vedic authority was it was not very easy to get a Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita. The struggles these Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gadar Pandit, etc., they have to undergo, it's a lot. Nowadays, it may be easily available. But it's our responsibility to express our gratitude and to express our way of service to uphold Vedic authority. How? by reading them nicely, first of all, by understanding, at the same time by helping in preservation through mass distribution. So we help in distribution, so everyone will understand the importance of these books. These are not ordinary books. These are the Dharma Shastras, the Bhagavad Dharma, the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, etc. So otherwise, human society will be in chaotic condition in which there cannot be peace or prosperity. Prabhupada is mentioning this in the last line. So important. So important. So therefore, we must do our best to protect the Vedic Shastras, the words of God, which is not different from Kṛṣṇa. So firstly, by giving it a lot of respect, reading, understanding, at the same time doing our best to distribute and share this importance with others as well. Because this is the formula for peace and happiness. Peace and happiness, this formula is there. Prabhupada brought Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam with him from India. Actually, someone asked, why are you going to US? He said, no, I'm not going. Bhagavatam is going. I'm just a servant. I'm going. So the point is that's a respect, that's a Prabhupada's contribution to the whole world, which is leading to so much happiness and bliss even in this age of darkness. Why? Because of these book distribution, reading, and emphasis on reading the Dharma Shastra. Otherwise, would any one of us be sitting here reading Bhagavatam? Can you imagine? Just think about it. Prabhupada would not have been there. Would all of us be like sitting together reading Bhagavatam? No, probably we'll all watch movie together, right? So we must try our best. One last verse for today, then we will pause.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
Text 30. Tatrapi jagne bhagavan harinyam harimeda saha harir iti ahrato yena gajendro mochito grahat. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Prabhuji translation. Also in this Manvantara, the Supreme Lord Vishnu took birth from the womb of Harini, the wife of Harimeda, and he was known as Hari. Hari saved his devotee Gajendra, the king of the elephants, from the mouth of a crocodile. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
So who was the fourth Manvantara avatar?
Thomas.
Hari.
Hari, yes. Manvantara or Manu was Tamasa.
Manvantara, not Manu.
Who were his parents?
Harini and
Harimeda.
Very nice. And then, what was his main activity?
Moksha to Gajendra.
Yes. And that we will study in the upcoming weeks. The famous story of Gajendra. So this is just a brief summary of the four Manus and who are the avatars, etc. Any comments or questions before we stop today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So all these Manvantara avatars are for one universe, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, that's what because this whole thing we're talking about this Brahma only. Yes.
So will we be talking about other Brahmas also, Prabhuji?
Sure. If we live so far and if you help us to figure out that those literatures from the spiritual worlds or from those planets, so you're a great soul, you can go get those.
Okay. With your blessings, Prabhuji, it is possible.
Good, I like your eagerness. That's good. Any other comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Prahlad Maharaj, it was in 7th Manvantar or because he was referring to Hari, right? He was referring to this avatar, Hari.
Prahlad Maharaj was in which Manvantar? I'll have to, if someone knows the answer, can please respond. We read that. I don't know on the top of my head, but we certainly read that. So I may have to go back again unless someone wants to answer that.
Okay, but the Hari he was referring towards this avatar, right, Prabhuji?
Well, the Hari word is used multiple times for Lord. So as I said, I would like to refer before I say definite answer.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Chakshusha Manvanta. This fourth is also called Chakshusha Manvanta. Probably that was, but I need to double check. Sorry?
Is it 6th Manvantara, Prabhuji?
As I said, I don't know. If you know the answer, then you can say.
No, I was
if it is a question, I don't know the answer. I'll have to refer. Okay, well, we can discuss that sometime later.